Where do you think Assange fucked up? What is your issue? What do you think that he overlooked in his whole situation, or how he ended up? What would you have done differently if you were in his shoes?
Well, my issues with Assange are the same issues that a lot of people who were with him from the beginning or very close to him towards the end. The same reasons they left, and in some cases are in hiding and won't talk about him, like Sarah Harrison, his former girlfriend and second in command, who uh, yeah, who Brigitte Jan's daughter, who was even in that one of that movie, the movie they made about him and all that, former Icelandic Pirate Party member of Parliament. She left early on. There's others like myself and Naomi Colvin who are still involved in his defense, working with his lawyers against the DOJ. But all of us, I think, pretty much agree on what he did wrong. He lied to the public. He lied to his own supporters. He sacrificed people like myself and Jeremy Hammond, which I would have been fine if he had achieved something by it, but he didn't. He started with the mission of transparency, and that's what we're doing, transparency. He ended up having his own girlfriend go out and lie on his behalf. Sarah Harrison. She didn't know she was lying, claiming that he had no dog in the race in the U.S. presidential election, and was definitely not supporting either side. It was not involved with either side, not working for either side, which turned out to be absolutely false. And I know a lot of people who, like myself, have been Assange supporters. Again, remember, I'm someone who was an Assange supporter to an extent that I was happy to go to prison on his behalf and kept writing in his defense in prison until I got out and started finding out some things, and found out that he was one of his tricks of the trade is to say, "Oh, Assange wants to talk to you about this," and then he doesn't. Then he doesn't show up, and then he sends Kim.com to come fucking talk to me. Sends
What?
people like, yeah. Try to have Kim.com like play me, and it didn't work because Kim.com is another one of these same guys. He thinks he's he thinks he can pull one over on people. He thinks he can pull one over on me.
What was he trying to do to pull one over on you by hooking
Well,
you up with, by
he
setting you up with
admitted.
Kim.com?
He first he admitted that Assange, of course, was working on Trump's behalf.
On Trump's behalf.
Which I didn't need him to tell me that. We already had documents knowing that, some of which are public, some of which are not, some of which WikiLeaks or Assange himself has presented little portions of, out of pretend that's all it is, with Roger Stone conversations, and then left out the other large portions that make it clear. It just, again, he fucked up. He decided to play geopolitics. He decided to play CIA. He decided to lie to the public instead of doing what our mission was, which was to make the public give them access to the truth. And that's why he lost a lot of support, and it's why the DOJ's job became a lot easier. It's why the people who like myself, who essentially were happy to go do 100 years, over this stuff. I mean, strapped for HB Gary, all the stuff I was investigated for and listed on my search warrant. These are all things that went with WikiLeaks. So
is this in regards to, pardon my ignorance, but is this in regards to the NGO set up that Hillary Clinton was a part of, that was tied to the Ukraine, where the DNC was working with the Ukraine to undermine Trump?
No, this doesn't really come into that situation. That's something I'm familiar with, and some people I work with have been investigating for years. People who know more about the Ukraine and the 2016 election than I do, because of course I was in prison for it. But
right.
No, this is the mostly unrelated issues, or on the other side of those same issues, I guess. I mean, the same kind of chicanery the Clintons were involved in, with elements of Ukraine and other elements. The Trump people were involved in with Assange,
Okay.
And so that's a sad thing, because we didn't set out, wanting Assange to be the equivalent of some corrupt DNC fucking actor, or the Chinese giving money to the Clintons, illegally, or whatever, or the Steele dossier people, Fusion GPS. That's not what we envisioned. We envisioned something that would stand above that would be principled, that we could defend honestly and easily,
right,
and be proud of. And that's not what happened. And it's because Assange, he got some bad advice. He had a lot of good advice, but he didn't take it. And those who gave him the good advice were regarded alienated. And again, he overestimated his ability to he started out as someone leaking information about powerful people and ended up being someone who helped to conceal and conspire with powerful people in a way that got leaked.
Right.
It's the same story for the last 500 years. Every political movement,
It seems,
the
yeah,
communists, the
it seems like
communists
a
start
pattern.
out, we're going to do this, this, and this. Oh, well, because we're the communists, we're allowed to do this. Then the CIA is going to fight the communists, and they start out, doing this properly. Then it's like, oh, because we're the CIA, we can overthrow democratic elections, lie about it. When we actually screw up and actually help communism, we're going to cover it up. It's the same story. Democratic Party, Republican Party, WikiLeaks, much else. It's the same human tendency, in which we have blind spots, blinders, and we're able to excuse our own and justify our own misconduct because the enemy is or is supposedly worse, and we get to a point where the misconduct you engage in that gets found out, and then suddenly, even on a pragmatic level, it was no longer helpful, was it? Like the little breaking the rules here and there, when that is discovered, now you look bad, and you deserve to, and you've lost your moral stature, you've lost your credibility. That's all it takes. And again, it happens constant. It's a cycle that happens throughout movements. Things start out, being effective, they go corrupt. There's certain kinds of people who are climbers who will join groups, and they're careerists, timekeepers, bureaucrats, whatever. And there's certain kind of people, who cannot hold power wisely. They can't hold on to it, and they can't keep their own bad instincts in check, and they don't. That's something that I do intentionally. They don't surround themselves with people who are willing to say, "Hey, you're fucking wrong on this. Fuck you," which is what I do to ensure, and that's why I've never lost a strong supporter in my life. In fact, I've gained a lot of Assanges, including some of the people who resigned from some of his groups to join me a few years ago. It's because, regardless of what my faults are, unlike Assange or Andy No or whatever else, I'm not going to hide and fail to explain anything at all. I will explain openly and candidly and fully, like any action I engage in, because my policy is not to engage in actions that I'm not willing to explain.